what if, let's say, okay, in the year 2050, when space tourism really picks up, I'm not really sure if you believe in this, but let's say space tourism really picks up and you're given a chance to go to space, okay? Would you take it? Would you take it?
Of course I would. Of course I would.
And what if you end up seeing a round Earth? What then?
I'd quit. I'd quit tomorrow. And that's not even a question. I know the documentary guy's like, oh, you'll never quit. Of course I would. The whole point of this was to quit. When I put the clues out there, I was like, look, I don't want to believe in flat Earth, but I think it's flat. Shoot me down. Anyone that's, in fact, some group out of London wanted to buy me a ticket for the, one of the Virgin Galactic things, which is pointless anyway. It's like, look, even if it goes up 50 miles, it's not space, right? It's just a really high plane. It's 300,000 feet. I go, but as far as the space tourism questions, okay. So, first off, every president since Reagan over here, right? And that goes back a ways. You know, Reagan and the Bushes and Clinton, every single one of them says, you know, we're committed to going back to the moon. I know I was kind of doing an Obama impersonation, but we're committed to going back to the moon, right? That's what they keep saying. Every president has said, we're going back. The bigger question is, why didn't we go back to the moon? As a matter of fact, why hasn't any country put men on the moon since 1972, since it was the Americans? So when people talk about, space tourism and space this, it's like, yeah, they were hyping that back up in the 60s. Pan America, before they went bust, that's part of the movie 2001, A Space Odyssey, was they had this orbiting space station that was, hovering above the Earth, and that was going to be part of the space tourism, and you could go up there and do things, and there was a base on the moon. The science fiction movie television series, Space 1999, right, which was set in 1999, was filmed in the 70s, and it was absolutely real. That people, it was like, yeah, by 1999, you can totally see we can have a moon base. In fact, why did the space race stop? Forget about space tourism. Why did the space race stop? Remember, it was the United States, Soviet Union, right? Big space race. You can look up some wonderful covers of Time magazine. It's like, oh yeah, we did this and they did this, and all of a sudden, the Americans get there, and everybody else quits. The Russians just quit? After all that, they just shut it down. It's like, no, you know how it would have gone. It would have been an escalation. They would have put 3 people. We would have put 5. They put a small base. We do a bigger base. And the next thing you know, the magazines run a headline, has the Cold War reached the moon? That's how it should have gone. I have never seen in the history of any competition where the first guy reaches the finish line and then the other people just walk off the course. It's like, oh, he won. Might as well just stop. Never ever, and in fact, the Russian space program after Apollo just disappeared. And I know exactly why. Sorry, I know I'm getting worked up here, but I got to get this point across. Here's the reason why. The reason is because you can't have, this is straight up Hollywood studio stuff, which is 2 studios cannot work on the exact same project without continuity issues. Meaning, even studios working on their own projects, right? Which is why they're so terrified of doing reshoots, because if the moviemistakes.com, right? How many movie things? I mean, for God's sakes, the first Lord of the Rings, there was a car driving through the Shire that somebody missed, right? If a coffee cup moves from one side of the room to the other and somebody catches it, you're going to hear about it. So if you have studios, one in the Soviet Union, one in Moscow, and one in an Air Force base somewhere in the United States, working on the same project, the chances of them being completely match up is impossible. Absolutely impossible. It's like, because somebody's going to watch, like, hey, why is the Russian moon so brown? Or why is their gravity look different? Or, it was just a nightmare. No one was, which is why, by the way, why there were no stars. People say, it's an exposure setting. No stars anywhere in the moon. No, that's not why. It's because the stars have to be in the right place. Remember, stars move, right? So, and it's all time stamped. So all of a sudden, if the belt of Orion is not in the right place, some nerd is going to say, hey, that belt of Orion should be completely on the other side. And if that happens more than once, impossible. You can't do it. So, sorry. Long answer to space tourism. Never, ever, 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 ever. Wait for it. Ever going to happen, because they can't. It's something you can't fake. Hell, they don't even like faking pictures of the Earth. Look this up. The first blue marble shot of the Earth was the famous 1972 blue marble shot. You know when the second shot was taken? Summer of 2015. 43 years, no one took a second shot, and we only knew this because Obama actually talked about it, and Scott Kelly wrote the press release. And Obama's like, the second blue marble shot of the world. Really, really great. It's like, what the hell are you talking about? 4 decades? No one took a full disc shot of the Earth? No one did, apparently. And no one figured it out either. They don't even like doing that. So no, they're not going to fake space tourism. They don't even want to fake putting a person on the moon. They're just kick that can down the road. Never, ever, ever going to happen. You can't get to the moon. Americans didn't go to the moon. It's all just a wonderful, all the world's a stage. I think Shakespeare said that.